You're human, right? And sometimes things go wrong. But how do you forgive yourself after you make a mistake? Keep watching. Okay, so you did something wrong. Now what do? It's back here in the past, behind you, but you still feel that there's something not right inside. And yeah, you're working on forgiving yourself, right? But it's not working. So why? What parts are you missing in this whole forgiveness piece so that you can forgive, let go, move on? Because you might keep moving forward in life and it feels like this is like dragging behind you. You need to do something about that. And let me tell you why. Because in psychology, in the study of us as a human being, when we feel out of order about something, our brain won't let it go because it's not complete. And it doesn't matter how many days, how many months, how many years go by, inside here, inside your head, the way that the brain works, it sees that the past and the present are all in the same time frame. It doesn't separate things. You can go, what happened last month? And it can go back to that month. But when it comes to emotions don't have timelines. When there are emotions involved with something that is off and it's not quite right inside of you, those emotions, even though it's a week, a month, a year later, it still feels like it happened 5 minutes ago. So when you are off in how you feel and there's an emotion wrapped around it, it just follows you, lingers with you after day after day after day. And there does need to be some forgiveness exercised, some processing, some reconciliation to happen. Now, you might be new to the forgiveness experience. Like, what does that actually mean? Most people think that forgiveness is only a spiritual term. Like, oh, you've sinned. Now you need to be forgiven or you're going to end up going to hell. I mean, that's a very big spiritual conversation there. But forgiveness is not just a spiritual thing. It's an everyday life thing. To tell someone you're sorry, to ask someone to forgive you for what you did. Forgiveness means to pardon what has happened. So let's just go with the social, public, real life situation of you need forgiveness. And that we're not talking a church context here. We're talking you just feel like something needs to be done so that you can move forward. So what are the components that happen here in forgiveness? Why won't your mind let go of it? So here's what happens inside of your head. When you did something and it wasn't right, and you felt it, you know it, and it wasn't right, the mind starts to think that this is going to end up happening again. And it sees that it happened once. So one of the concerns of your mind is that it's going to happen again and again and again. And this feeling is you feel off or you feel out of balance. And if the mind goes, wait a minute, if this happened once and we do it again and again and again, we're not only going to be off balance just a little bit, well, that little bit gets stacked up to be a lot. And what if we're off balance a lot? What could happen? Well, we could mentally crash. We could hurt somebody. We could hurt ourselves. And so the mind is actually processing, going, wait a minute, we're going to need to do something about this. So when you don't do something to reconcile this, it becomes a really big concern to the function of your mind because your brain does not want to die. But if you keep getting off balance, that could make a feeling of we're not doing well. If we don't do well for a long time, we could die. I hope that just all made sense to you. So what do? Part of forgiveness is coming up with an action plan to make sure it doesn't happen again. You can say, okay, I forgive myself. You can go tell people, I hope you'll forgive me. But if we don't go inside our head and start making a plan of how this will not happen again, it's going to still be a concern. And that concern is what keeps bringing this back to life to you. Like, it's going to happen again. You haven't made any changes. You haven't made any adjustments. It's going to happen again. And so that concern just eats at you. So if you heard what I just brought up, that one of the steps of forgiveness is to make a plan of how this will never happen again. Number 2 is what must change. What must change in your pattern or your choices to support that plan? Now, what you do here is, in making this plan, I think it's super smart to actually write it out. You actually write out in the plan what happened. So first, you write what happened, and I'm going to put WH, that means what happened, and what the plan idea is next. So maybe you take a half page or a full page and you write down in details what exactly happened, what led up to it, what was the act, what did it do to people, what did it create, and you literally are being very, very, very accountable for how this really, came about. After you write all that out, that's a pretty intense experience because you're really calling forth all the details about it. Now that you see all the details of what happened, now it gives you power to go, where did I fall? Where did I slip? Where did I go wrong? And because now you can see where those places are at, because it's all in writing, now you can start to write this new plan of going, okay, starting now, this is how I'm going to change my behavior. This is what's going to be different. And you begin writing out those details. So it looks like 2 different pieces of paper, 2 different documents on your computer. What happened and what the new plan is. Now, if you decide to do this and get very interested in your behavior, you can eliminate this from repeating. You can eliminate this from repeating, and you can eliminate the concerns and worries inside of you. And that is called forgiveness, to let go, because you've taken charge of it. You've decided, I'm going to look into this, see how it works, see what happened, what led up to this. Here's my new plan. I'm going to follow this new plan so I don't slip into this old way of how I did things, because I don't want this to repeat. And because you've written it down, it's very conscious, very in front of you, very real. Nobody gets to see this. This is you working on you with the mental and emotional states of forgiveness. Now, if you didn't do this, it's really possibly going to happen again and recreate. And you're going to do it again and again and again. And you're not going to know what led up to it. Because remember that there was something that led up to this to happen. Something plus something plus something caused that to happen. It didn't just come out of nowhere. So by you writing, you're actually discovering everything that led up to it, what happened, who got hurt, what did you say, what's going on. But now you actually can be more clear about a new plan. And you can put into this is where I'm going to change. Now talk about empowering. Talk about, encouraging that you actually can be involved so detailed like this to be able to make such a great change in your life. Because it sure is debilitating to do something wrong and have no idea why it happened, and then have no idea how to change it, and then to be worried, oh my goodness, it could happen again. That's not empowering. That's not encouraging. That's actually makes you feel like you don't have much control of your life. So a huge part of really learning how to forgive yourself after you make a mistake is to take time to write the details out. Because you can do this. Don't let another day go by where it's weighing on you and eating at you. Get involved. Help your head sort this out. And when you write all this out, if you realize you need to go talk to people, you need to see people, you need to say, I'm sorry. And if there's anything you got to do to fix what has happened, you go do what it takes. No matter what happens, you do what it takes to be able to make those amends with people to make it good. Because remember, what we've done wrong has an emotional part to it. And inside who we are, emotions are not separated by time. If it happened 2 years ago, it still feels the same painful way that it did 2 years ago. And it's not going to go away. It's not how the brain and the body function. It doesn't categorize and put emotions into timelines. It puts events into timelines, but not emotions. So to help you lighten that burden and to feel good, because you know you're doing good, do the work. It's going to make a difference. You're going to feel so much better doing what I just showed you. You're going to feel so good. So good job clicking on this video, watching this video. Now let's take it a step further and let's really clean up what's going on inside your head to build your confidence. Click the link below, and now that you've worked on forgiveness, let's work on confidence. Click the link below and take a look at a training program I have called Master My Thoughts. Because wow, imagine if you could boost that confidence up. What could you do next? So click on this, super affordable, you'll love it. And also, by the way, before you go, click subscribe.